Hello and welcome in this last video. I mean, this won't be the last because we are probably going to do a couple more, like one more for definitely for rebooting and like changing the root password. This is super important. But anyway, let's focus on this one. The idea here is I changed a bit the questions that I found and that I remember having on during the exam, because I want you to be able to also build the stuff. Although I think we did something similar also on the server side, but I would like to combine here. I think it's a good idea and it's a good thing to do as preparation for the exam. So this question is trouble. This is the one question that I failed during the exam. This is the only one that I failed. Like, I had 285 on 300 point out of 300 point, and this one I spent like 30 minutes trying to figure out what was the problem. I couldn't find it, and now in the quiet of my home, I mean, I still had like 30 minutes left. I could have used to investigate more. Maybe I would have found it, but I must say this is a tricky one. Now I figured out what the problem was. I will tell you towards the end, let's say, but like, let's go through it. So anyway, now we are going to download this. So we're going to git clone it. I don't know if I installed Git already. I just reinstalled Podman because I restarted a little snapshot that I had with this VM. So some stuff might not be installed anymore. Let's actually see if the opt file is there. Oh, it's not there. Okay, very good. Then let's see if the user student is there. Okay, it's not there either. Very good. So we'll just create the user student. Very good. Then we will log in as this user. Yeah, exactly. We'll do everything as this user for this question. This is the best. This is the best, and you will understand why later. I will explain to you what my problem was, that you don't run into it, and you will understand why I'm switching immediately as this user now. So now we are, I think, in the root. Yeah, exactly. We are in the root. We're in the home directory of this this user, which is the student user. So it's clearly stated here that the container should be run as user student, and it should be afterwards used as a systemd user service. So I will explain you how that goes. Oh yeah, we should do this beforehand. Wait a second. Let me see if ID student, let me see. Yeah, it's the same. So you can use this. I just noted this because this is important to remember. This will allow systemd to be working also based on this user. So if you don't do that, either with the user ID or with the username, which doesn't matter which one you use, this line or this line, if you don't do that, systemd cannot use stuff from this user. So like this, you basically allow this user to communicate with systemd directly through some user files. I will show you how. So it's important to use that once as root. So once as root, you enable this lingering for this user. Remember, it's loginctl enable-linger. So that's stuff you need to learn by heart. It's super important. Then we will log in to switch user su-student. You switch the user and you become student. And now we are going to clone the stuff. So that thing is here. So it tells you to clone it. You should know some basics of Git by now. So not from my course, but I mean, when you apply for something like sysadmin exam, I think you should know a bit of Git. So git clone is the command, and what it will do is that it will download the content of the repository. We are cloning it locally, and then we see that it created a directory. If you do git status, it will tell you that we are up to date because we just downloaded it. And now we are going to do a Podman build. So Podman build, we did it before, so you use the -t for tag, and you will give it the name myimage, and you will use the file Dockerfile because that's what it is in there, and the dot. It's the syntax, and it will basically do it. So we just need to wait a little bit. I think it's a little bit long, it depends. I don't know what it needs to install. Let's see. So during that time, I can explain to you the following things we are going to do. So we will need to create do's, and actually it's really good that we start fresh, because if you did it in the previous question, if you created do's in the previous question, I will already tell you the trick that's important. If you created those directories as root, this one and this one, because the previous question also asked for it, right? The problem is, now that you will run stuff as the student user, even if you change the ownership of those files, the C-Linux context will not be correct. And then this will not be usable. Even if you do perfect syntax, perfect command lines, it will not be possible for your container to work correctly with those directories. This was my problem. This is where I failed, actually. This is where I couldn't find the issue. So either if that happens to you and you create those as root and it doesn't work when you're as, the container doesn't work and cannot mount those directories, then what you need to do, the simplest thing, is you just remove those containers and recreate them as student. If you're logged in as student and you create those directories, then the context will be correct. If you don't do that, you need to use a little bit more complicated command like restore context, restore con from C-Linux, and you need to force it even. If you don't force it, it will not allow you. So that's a bit tricky. If you don't know about this, then better do it this way. You just delete them, recreate them as student. That's the simplest way. Anyway, I'm talking a lot. So now we have the image. So if I do Podman, let's do the help, you'll see. If I do grep image, you'll see you have a couple of, so you have basically image to manage image, or images, and images will list them. So if you do Podman images, you'll see your image there. So this is this one, my image. Very good. So now we want to use that image to create something, but before we do that, we want to mount those, and to mount those we need to create those directories. So what I was saying, you need to copy this up, and you will do make dir. P is not necessary in this case because, well, the OPT directory already exists most likely, but we'll do it nonetheless. Oh, permission denied. Well, that's a problem actually. We cannot, so you see, we cannot even do this. So we really need to do it through this context stuff. Okay, well, this is the way. This is very tricky for this exam, you see. I'm really amazed how they did this thing. Can I actually do it like this if I do sudo, but -u student? Can I do it like this? Cannot, because permission denied. Okay, I am thinking I will try something different. I will give, okay, vsudo. I will give, this is something that's also in the exam, so it's good practice anyway to go. You see, I still have the Harry stuff. So you will basically go here and you will say student. It's not supposed to be like this, right? You will just copy this. Actually, look, I'm just copy this and paste, and I'll remove this, and no password. And oh yeah, we need to say, yeah, wait, we need to see what's the make dir from. Student, sup, and then we'll have a look. What is make dir? Which make dir? And bin make dir, you see? So we are going to go into vsudo. We will see if that's working like this. And bin make dir, it's super easy. Sup, like this. Yeah. And now let's see if I log in as user student. And if I try now, it won't work, but if I do sudo, and now it worked. So now let's see the ownership of those. ls opt, and we'll see what's there. lsl to see the permissions. And it's owned by root. Look at that, it's still owned by root, even though, because I used sudo, it's owned by root. This is very annoying. Okay, then we need to exit, and you will have to use this restore con that I used before. This is super annoying. I wanted to find an alternative for you to make it easier, but you see, this is super annoying. Well, actually, it's maybe part of the question. It's super tricky, right? We need to know how to use restore con. So from this, then we need to chown. So we'll change the owner. Oh, that's bad. Chown, and then student, and we'll copy those here. Zoop. We'll do that, but you will see it's not gonna work. So then we'll use the restore con. It's not bad. We'll then do some live troubleshooting with this. So we build the image. Now we are gonna run the Podman. So we'll do a Podman run d for detach name my container, and we need the v, and then we need let me think. We then need the opt file, and it's mounted within the container as data input, and don't forget the z, which is important, and then we can copy this, zip, and we'll just change the important parts, up, we'll just change a few bits, like processed, and data output, very good, and then we give it a name, so wait a second, no, the name is already given. Actually, I'm all good. I think I'm forgetting something. Ah, yeah, the image, of course. My image. And that should be it around the image. Okay, let's see. Now, let's see if we touch a file. Okay, touch opt and file, and we will give it a name shubidoo.txt. So ls, let's see if it's there. Yeah, it's there. And let's now go to processed. See if it's there. Oh, it works. So actually, if we do this like this is my trick. My little trick actually worked. So if you do a vsudo and you add it there, then it's gonna work. I didn't expect it to work really. The problem is if you create those directories as root, and even if you change the ownership, then the container is not gonna work. So that's super annoying, you see. Here it works, it's creating, so basically if I still do another one, let's say I do one that's like Nico super happy, and now we check the ls, it should appear, yeah, it's here, so it's working. Okay, I will still show you the alternative, which is to use the restore con stuff. This is a bit annoying, but this is how you do it. So in the case where you are having this problem with this restore and relabeling, then okay, let's go to root. Now basically we are done with this part, but we just need to do the systemd stuff. But I just want to show you in the case you have the problem. So restore con is the way. So you can check the man page, and it might show you even some examples, not even, oh yeah, it does. You see here this stuff. So you do have some example. So like fixing the labeling basically is the idea. But like in our case, you need to do restore con, and it's better to use the help, and it will tell us what you can do. Opa, did I do? Restore con, invite exception, what did I do? Aha, I cannot put -- help, okay. Well, then you have only the man page, there is no help for restore con. That's a bit weird, but yeah, that's how it works. So the idea is, okay, let's go back to the man page then, because otherwise it's very tricky. You need to know what you're doing. So the idea is to use the flag rf. So you'll see r here. Change files and directories file labels recursively. So you need to do it recursively, but here in this case not so much. Important is unless you had a file already in there, but yeah, we can recreate them, so it's okay. If you do so you need -r, you need the f for force here, because otherwise it's not gonna work, you'll see. And the v, I think, is for verbose, or isn't it? Where is the v? Yeah, v is here. Why is it not alphabetical? That's a bit weird. Show changes in file labels. Yeah, So this is for verbosity, exactly. So you will do a restore con, and then you give these flags. So R, big F, and small v, and then you do opt file, and you do opt processed. This is the way you could save yourself, and you see it worked in this case. If you do just R and V and it doesn't work, or just R and it doesn't work, then you need to use like the F. The big F is important. It's basically allowing it to work. Now, we need to do the systemd file. So that's what we are going to do now. And for that, we need to generate the systemd file. So you will see what I mean. We need to go back as student, because that's, you need to do everything from that as student. Let's check that the container is still there, and it's still there. You see, it's been created 4 minutes ago, and it's up for 4 minutes. Still working. I guess if we still do, okay, now super happy I will write. And then if we do a ls, and then you see it doesn't work anymore. This thing is crazy. This thing is crazy. You see, I did a restore and then it doesn't work. So, okay, what we're gonna do, I'm going to delete, this is crazy. I'm going to delete the opt file and the opt processed, and then we will recreate them as student with vsudo, because otherwise it just doesn't work. So I will recreate, make dir, and it will create them. And then I exit, and then I will re-change the ownership. This is madness, this thing. Wait a second, why do I have those? Okay, I wanted the chown that I had. Okay, I don't find it. It's okay, I'll redo it manually. Chown, R, and opt. Okay, I'll just copy this. Zup. Okay. Oh yeah, I need to specify student, of course, and then it should be okay. SU student, and let's see if the Podman will work like this, or if we need maybe to redo it. It's funny, you see, all these tricks you need to do. Madness with this. Super happy. Let's try creating this like this. And now let's ls. Oh yeah, because we need, didn't we recreate them? Well, we did recreate them, but it's empty. Wow. Okay, I guess we need to do a Podman stop. mycontainer. And you see, doing what I did, it stopped working, because these were mounted, and then we just delete those directories which were mounted. So I guess it didn't like it at all. So I'll just remove it entirely. And history, let's see, I will just recreate it by doing this. Let's recreate it. Yeah. And now let's see if it's doing the stuff. Oh, and sure enough, the last one is there, but not the previous ones, because they were, I'm quite convinced they were having the problem with the, let's see. Oh, no, it's fine. You see, only this one. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay. And now let's do a touch. And again, .txt, and it should be fine. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's also there. Okay, it's working. Good. Now we'll do Podman. We will go to the next question, the last bit of the question, and then we are done. Sorry for this long one, but I think it's nice that you see the little tricks and all the problems you can get with those contexts. You can also check, if you do ls z, I think, you can also check the context, the current context of the directory. That would have been interesting actually to troubleshoot this beforehand. And you see, if you see stuff like this container file, then this is okay. Systemu object or container file, this stuff is okay. It would have been interesting to check what it was when it's created by root and not working. Anyway, if you do it like this, it's working and we are happy. So, Podman, then generate. And what are we going to generate? you can choose three things here if you use the double tab. Cube, generate Kubernetes YAML for containers, it's not what we want. Systemd, it's deprecated, but that's exactly what we want. And actually, yeah, they ask you to use some deprecated stuff in the exam. So we will use systemd. And then you need to give it a name, but you can also use the help normally, I hope. Yeah, you can. Very good. So if you have a look, what do you want to use? We want some new thingy. So it will definitely be new. We could also start an existing one, but yeah, I think it's better to start a new one. And then the name will be mycontainer, so we need to specify name here. And also a last one, you should generate the service file. This is important because we want to use that. So going back to this, what we need is the name will be mycontainer, and the files, because we want to get the service files, and new. So they are saying it's supposed to be deprecated, but you ignore that stuff. Honestly, I don't know what is Quadlet. I haven't used it yet, so yeah, might be super, might be great. I don't know. I will check it out definitely at some point, but yeah, the file is there. So this is the service file. Let's have a look at it, and you see how it's doing it. It's actually here. You see it's doing exactly the things that we've been doing before with the mount, and it's adding some exec stuff, what it's supposed to do, the CID file, basically Podman stuff, you know. So now that we have this, we will move it to a different place. And the place we go is something a bit specific. So I think if you go in the man page of Podman generate, let's see, actually, I will help you with this. Podman generate, because it's tricky to remember where you're supposed to send this. It doesn't tell you. It doesn't tell you, no. Well, I'm afraid you need to learn it by heart. I thought it did tell you where you would send it, but somehow not. Maybe if I do Podman generate systemd, do you believe it? I think it will. Let's see. Oh yeah, it's also important. That stuff is also important now, I remember this. We might need that as well. I'm not sure they say here where we need to put it. Let's see if I type config, because it's supposed to be there. Oh yeah, look at this. So to run the user services placed in so this is where you need to go. So I know it by heart, but I wanted to be able to find it in the documentation because you might need this as well. So you can copy this, exit, and then first you make this, you create this. And once you have created it, you can do it like this, and then you can do it like here, and you will be in there, so there is nothing. But once you created this, you will be able to do the system control user files, and that's super important. Now we want to move, if you go back, where is my file? Yeah, so this file that we created, the service file, you will want to move it exactly there where we were just now. So I will just copy it. So you can just copy this. This is where you want it to be. You can do it like this, and it will send it there. So you do it like this, and then you see it's there. Perfect. Now we have the file, we have everything. Now what we need to do is system control -- user. That's the tricky part. You do it. This is a system control file, but as user, you reload the daemon. Failed to connect to us, and this is exactly the problem I was having. So in this case, you go back in here, and I think you need to set that variable. So if unset, set it via, you see, you do this. You do this. And this should do it. You copy this, zoop, copy this. I think this should solve our thing. Let's go back in the bash RC. I think it's good practice to put it there, so you can put it wherever really. I'll put it on the top. That'd be crazy. Okay, be careful with that because of course there is some little bit of how do you call it? There is a little bit of formatting in the man page, so it's important you don't have a weird space cutting the sentence. Then you source it. You could also just export it, but it needs to be able to rerun at startup, so you want that to be doing fine. So this is one way. There would be other ways, but this is fine. And like this, and you see, now it's working. So this is a trick, and I remember I read it in the man page during the exam. So you can use the man page to go to Podman -generate -system. This is the trick. If you go there in the documentation, you will find everything. So that thing I didn't know about this, and during the exam I found it and applied it. So you can do it the same, really. Don't be afraid of going in the documentation. You have time normally. If you learn through my labs, you will have time. This one is one of the tricky questions, takes longer, but for the rest you should be quick. So you just need to remember that. Then --user enable it now, and then you just need to specify the name of the service. So basically it's always the same. With the systemd services, you just need to take that bit from the file, and that's what you put now. This is like this. You could specify .service, but doing this like this way will work the same. Yeah, so it created the symlink, so this is good. I don't know why it's hanging though. This is the funny part. It just took a while, okay, but it doesn't matter. As long as it's working, it's good. And then here, instead of doing enable now, we'll check the status. And it's running. Yeah. So, and you see it's enabled. So we are good. I don't know why it says preset disabled, but it's enabled. So we are happy and it works. Did we do the lingering above? I think we did do the lingering above, right? I installed Podman. We run this, and then here we did some other stuff. But I think otherwise, if we didn't do the lingering, the systemd stuff would not work at all. So yes, we did it. So yeah, we're good. If we reboot, this will reload as well, along with the user. So we're good to go. We did everything in the question and even some troubleshooting. And we visited the man page to find the solutions to our problem. So yeah, if you have any question about this tricky one, feel free to ask in the comments. I'm glad to respond. This is something I had trouble with, so I'm happy if I can help others having less trouble with. This was actually the one question I failed due to this weird C Linux permissions that I was mentioning above. But if you don't run into that trouble, thanks to those tricks I gave you just now, then you will manage this question as well. The restore con is tricky, but you don't technically need it if you create it through the user with vsudo, so you have several ways. Let's go back to this directory stuff. Either you create those directories with vsudo, like let's say you do a vsudo and you give the user student the privilege to create the directories himself with sudo. They will be labeled as root, they will be owned by root, but you change the ownership and that's it. You'll be good to go. If you do it like this, then you will have the right C Linux permissions and label, let's say, the right C Linux labels. If you don't do it like this, you can restore the context of those directories after you change the ownership, and that's fine as well. This works as well, but you need to force it, otherwise it's not gonna do it. Yeah, so one or the other way. Yeah, it's neither of those is really easy, but if you practice, if you do the labs, if you feel the pain a little bit, at some point you will find a way, and then during the exam you will find it relatively easy as well. Yeah, that's true. You will find it easy, believe me. I know it's hard to believe, but it's the truth. Okay, thank you very much for following me on this, and I hope it's been instructive, and I will see you in the next lesson where we will talk about rebooting and resetting factory default. No, not resetting factory default, but changing the root password, sorry. And see you there. Bye-bye.